We're live, we're live, we're live,
Hey.
we're live. Yes, it's me, Nigel Campbell, joined with the enigmatic man himself, the legend, the storytelling expert, Ernie Boxall. Ernie, before we start, we need to do a pose. 3, 2, 1. You've got that down to a T, man. Listen, guys, thank you so much for joining me today with Ernie. Ernie's a great storyteller. I think the first time I met him, he captivated this room with his soft voice, and then he pulled out a flute. And for me, that was like, oh my God, who is this guy? And it was absolutely amazing. But Ernie, thank you today for joining us. I know you've had to do a bit of traveling to get somewhere with a decent Wi-Fi reception. Those people in the background, we'll try and get them to like quieten down a bit later on, but we'll get started. I know you're a busy guy, Ernie. But Ernie, please tell us, what do you do for a business?
Well, Nigel, thanks for having me on. And I am a storyteller. But apart from that, I have found that my passion now is to help people to tell their story. And I've got a program called Selling Through Storytelling. And there's a quote, Nigel. People won't remember what you say as much as what they see when you say it. And I can prove that, I think, to you. A couple of days ago, you were interviewed by Karen, weren't you?
Yep.
Karen Bourne.
Yep.
I'd love you to go back to the people and say, what do you remember about my interview? And I wonder how many would say, I remember that Nigel has a program called Love Sales, Hate Selling, or how many would say, I remember Nigel's story about his dad. Because I know particularly through 4N and the 18-minute foresight, the stories I remember were the stories that people told about perhaps the not so pleasant times in their life. And I was on with this morning, and a lady there, Julie Allen, told a story about her father and about the problems that he was having, and how she brought herself through that traumatic period. And we were nearly in tears. And now I will remember Julie Allen's story 2, 3, 4 years down the line. It was that powerful.
Emotional invocation, I call it. It's when the power of what you're hearing kind of shakes your foundation, doesn't it? And like you say, you do remember those stories. So, I mean, what inspired you to start the business then, Ernie? I mean, it's a great business. What inspired you to start it?
Well, I always tell people when I do the workshop that when I was growing up, we weren't allowed to talk at the dinner table.
Okay.
That was in the 50s.
All right.
Yeah.
Seen but not heard. Seen but not heard.
Absolutely. Quiet at the dinner table. I couldn't talk after dinner because my dad had just come home from a 14-hour shift. I couldn't talk at night because I shared a bedroom with my younger brother.
Bloody hell, mate.
I kept being told to shut up at school. And at work, nobody could hear me. So, and really, part of my story is that I didn't really tell my story, or I didn't really talk until I was 22. When I was best man at a hooker's wedding. New Zealand rugby player.
Okay.
Not that kind of hooker. But I had to stand up in front of 140 business owners because his bride, her father, was the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce.
Blooming hell, mate. No pressure then.
That's where I found I could talk to people.
Fantastic.
That's my story.
And I suppose, I mean, a conversation that I have with a lot of business owners is, especially when they're going through my program and we get quite deep, it's amazing how much they have to say. And I always ask the question, has anyone ever asked you about your business or you. And generally, people don't. We're that busy listening to others. When someone comes along who wants to hear what we've got to say, it's really powerful. It's like, oh, and that's why, I mean, I loved Karen's interview. It's brilliant because I got a chance to talk, and no one told me to shut up. So Ernie, what have been some of the challenges that you've had with the business? What have you had to overcome?
Well, first of all, I set the business up because I was sacked by the NHS.
Oh.
Now, when you realise that there are surgeons about who kill people and they don't get sacked, I must have done something really bad.
Oh, Ernie.
And what it was I didn't keep good business notes, client notes, patient notes.
Right.
You know, what they wanted me to do was to ask the patient how they felt. I ran an exercise department in the hospital, physiotherapy.
Yeah.
I was seeing 10 people every session.
Yeah.
Now, before this idea came in, we saw 10 people. We just logged when they came in and logged when they went out. And then I was asked to write business notes on every one of them. So instead of seeing 5 groups a day, I started to see 2 a day.
Capacity went down because of the admin that came. And I imagine you weren't given any additional resources for that.
No. And eventually they brought in a middle manager who was strict on the notes. We had a disagreement and I was sacked.
Right.
I was sacked on the 30th of November.
Yeah.
On the 1st of December, I set up my own business.
Wow.
And the challenge was I set it up with no money.
Okay.
I'd just been sacked.
Yeah.
So the challenge all the way through has been financing the business.
Yeah.
Now, I built it up until around about 2004, 2005, when the first crash came.
Yeah.
And then I built it up again until about 2007, 8, when the second crash came.
Right.
So it's always been financing the business.
Yeah.
And now, semi-retired, and with the pension, I think I've overcome that. I've got a roof over my head that's guaranteed.
Yeah.
I can now put more money into building this business.
Yeah. Excellent. So, what advice would you give somebody who wanted to start a business right now, you know, post-COVID? They're thinking, right, I'm going to go into do my own business, because a lot of people have been let go by employers, whatever, and they're now feeling, you know, I can't let this happen to me again. What advice would you share?
Nigel, this is the time to get in, or it's the time now for the people who are already in business. It's the time now to get your name spread, because people are going to come in who have lost their jobs. What was a job for life, maybe, it's gone.
Yeah. I think that went about 15, 20 years ago, mate, but yeah.
But, you know, if you were working for a big company and then they said to you, now we've got to work from home.
Yeah.
And then they've said, okay, we've got enough people working from home. We don't need you.
Yeah.
Then people have now got to become comfortable doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
They've got to become comfortable talking to a camera.
Yeah.
Or talking to a live audience.
Yeah.
And the advice I would give is to look at 4 P's of perfect presentations.
Oh, tell us.
Prepare your presentation.
Yeah.
Prepare it so well. Edit it.
Yeah.
Go back and re-prepare.
Yeah.
And then practice your presentation.
Yeah.
Connect the right posture to your presentation, and then perform your presentation. Prepare, practice, posture, perform.
You hear that, guys? The 4 P's. He's giving away some gold dust here, you know. So make sure you take these on board. Prepare, practice, posture, perform. Love it. I love that, Ernie.
I was going to say, how I came into that was when I started networking.
Yeah.
20 years ago and doing the 60-second pitch.
Yeah.
I noticed people going up and winging their press, and I'm still networking, and the people that winged it then are still winging it now. I saw a business coach.
Yeah.
Walk to the front of the stage, turn round, put his hands into the pockets, and said, "Good morning. I'm John from John Business Coach, and I work with I'm
gonna do a song called the song. Even I go sometimes. I think to myself, when I'm speaking to a camera with no interaction.
Yeah.
I think that's where I struggle sometimes, because I can't just talk incessantly for the sake of talking, because it's like, how can you do that? I mean, you run out of saliva, you need a drink. It's like, I can't just keep talking like this forever. So eventually I've got to go
But with practice, you can, Nigel. And it's about thinking about the pauses.
The
pauses.
Pauses. Get ya. I know exactly what you mean.
Put the pauses in there.
That's my problem, you see. When I was younger, I wanted to get my message out, especially in class. It's like, miss. So I just got used to going blah, 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 and trying to get it all out so you can hear it in one go, so I'll make sure everything's said. But pauses work a treat. Absolutely. Tell those people behind you to be quiet.
Be quiet. They're not behind me now. Can I give one more
absolutely,
piece of advice to people? Tell the shit. Tell the crap. Talk about the crap that's happened to you.
Okay.
Because other people in the audience will suddenly say, either that's happened to me or that's happening now.
Yeah.
And they're the people that come up to you afterwards and they will say, can I have a one-to-one? You won't have to contact them.
Yeah.
They will come up to you and say, can I have a one-to-one with you?
Like it. So, Ernie, is there... Oh, actually, before we go to the last question, let's see if we've got any comments. Hey, good morning, Glenn. Glenn said it's good to see you, mate. Hey, Emma, hope you're well, honey. Hey, Alison Cotton, hope you're well, hon. Glenn says that when he was younger, he had to be quiet too.
Yeah.
And make sure that he ate all his food before he left the table.
Yeah.
He says there's no harm in it, Ernie. Good morning, Rachel. John Hill says the crap humanizes you.
Yeah.
Morning, Trisha. Hey, they're all flooding in now, man. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Hey, Jason. Hope you're well, mate. Jason Daly. Yeah, things are good with me. Things are great with Ernie. So, Ernie, let me just shut this down a second. Is there anything that the group can help you with right now?
Well, I do have, Nigel, I have a webinar, an introductory webinar, and I can post the links. If people get in touch with me, I'm prepared to do the webinar one-on-one with them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Or I can post the recording of me doing the webinar to them.
Yeah.
And that webinar introduces my 4 webinars in 4 weeks, selling through storytelling program.
Excellent. And are there any kind of questions that you ask people who might be interested in the webinar? Can
you join in with me?
Me?
I want everybody to join, because this is what I do now for clarity.
Right, guys, we've got to join in. So get your comments coming in, and come on, then let's go.
Okay, before you join any webinar or any presentation, there's 5 questions I want you to ask yourself.
Oh, okay.
So the first question is, who is he? And what I want people to do now, if they can point to the screen and say, who is he on the other side of the screen?
They can see your name.
Yeah. So ask yourself, who is he?
Who is he? Well, it's Ernie Boxall, top banana.
Then you ask yourself, who am I?
Oh.
Who am I? What do I do?
Oh.
Then you ask yourself, who is he to me?
Or who is she?
Or who is she to me? Yeah, exactly.
And what do you mean by who is he to me? How do we kind of what context?
Yeah. Well, what has he done? Why should I listen to him? What's his experience? Is his experience and his advice worth me listening to? The next question is, who am I to him? Why am I listening to him? How can I help him? The third question is, how can he help me? The fourth question is, how can I help him? You people on the screen now, you people on this meeting, you're my support. That's who you are to me. You're supporting me. Nigel's supporting me. The fifth question is, why now? Why am I listening to this man now? And my answer to that is because in the future, this is the way most business, or a lot of business, will be done. Over webinars, onto camera. It will be less face-to-face meetings.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you on that.
Because you know as well as I do, Nigel, that you can now help someone in America if they're onto your webinar now.
I picked up a student for my program from China yesterday.
There you go.
His English is impeccable.
Yeah.
Marketing ain't that great, but his English is, but he's like, you know,
that's
we
it.
did a call and he's like,
yeah. So I'll get people to ask themselves, who is he?
Yeah.
Who am I? Who is he to me? Who am I to him? Why now?
Why now?
And that brings clarity.
Fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, you've been given some serious golden nuggets there. And I wrote these questions down. I will probably, I'll put them into the group actually, so you can kind of see them again in black and white. Well, Ernie, what I would really love for us to finish on, because I know you're a man, he is a storyteller, and his stories must be told. I love it. Let's finish with a story. I know you have a 3-minute story called 0 to 22. We will end with that. Listen, guys, we're going to end with Ernie's story. So when he finishes, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to close down. I'm going to drop all the links into Ernie's business so you can go and find him. And I will also drop in the 5 questions to ask yourself before you commit to anything. And absolutely brilliant. Ernie, the floor is yours, sir. Do your story. When you finish, we'll shut off. I'm going to say bye to you now, guys, but do your stuff.
Okay. Do you know how your mother and father met? I do. My dad knocked my mother over when he came out of a pub. So I know how my story starts at 0. At 8, my father was made redundant and we slept on straw bales until he could get another job. At 15, I became an apprentice, but I didn't like it. So I asked my mother if I could go back to college. And she said, what do you want to do that for? You'll never make a go of that. At 18, I fell in love with a girl. Have you ever been in love, Nigel? Have you ever been in love from 4,000 miles? I was a pen friend.
Wonder Woman.
I was a pen friend to a girl in America. We fell in love. But as I told you at the start, I was never able to tell anybody this until at 22, I was best man at a wedding. And I was able to tell my story. So I encourage people to write down their story at 0. A story between 1 and 10. A story between 11 and 15. A story between 21 and 30. 31 and 44. And if they do that, they've got a book. They've got their presentation. They've got their story before somebody else tells it for them.
I've got to say something. Boom! Guys, listen, right? Fantastic. Ernie, absolutely fantastic.
Loved it.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Hey, Alison Cotton, hope you're well, honey. Hey, Marie Jenkins, hope you're well. Marie says pauses are great. And Glenn says, I'm here for inspiration always. That's what you're all here to be for. Ernie, thank you so much. Guys, we're going to shut down now. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Ernie, thank you so much for joining us in Love Sales, Hate Selling. Stay there, Ernie. We'll have a little bit of a debrief. And I'll drop all the comments and bits, links, and so on and so forth into the comments. Go and take a look and go and follow this man. This man will help you tell your story. That's us out of here. Thank you very much. Bye now.
Bye then.